Oh my goodness, this nigga's still talking.
Okay, so just talking about his my fault. Welcome to the Just Talking Podcast. This is Nah, and man, it's weird, man. I feel like I was following, not even just this year. I feel like the past few years I've really been following the Packers. So it's like seeing them lose to the 49ers again. And fuck the 49ers, respectfully. I don't know. I don't like them niggas as a team that much. I was definitely fucking with Brock Purdy a little bit last year, Mr. Irrelevant. But now this year, fuck them niggas, man. Just fuck the 49ers. I kind of wanted the Packers to win just so we could get a Lions versus Packers, you know, a division, an in division NFC championship. That shit would have been lit. Couldn't even tell me otherwise. That shit would have been lit. But regardless, I'm not a football talker. Though I will mention a little bit. I've heard good things about NFL Red Zone. I've never really seen it myself. But like, is that really the better way to watch football highlights? Because I was really trying last night. Because I couldn't watch the Bills and the Chiefs game. Um, until the end. Like I was trying to watch the earlier quarters. And I was like, this shit is so fucking boring. I don't know, bro. I'm just bad. Like when it comes to do with like general game highlights, I can't. If it's like specific highlights, like oh yeah, well, like when you see the NBA ones, I think there's a whole bunch of football ones too. Juke moves, uh, crosses, crosses up defender, but each cross up gets worse and worse. Those types of videos, like I can watch those. I can watch fucking Derrick Henry slamming folks to the floor, stiff arming, you know. But hey, um, yeah. Other than that, I don't really got much. I feel like regular highlights is just weird to me because it's like you're showing me like drops, which I guess drops aren't that bad, but you're showing me like failed drives. Like I don't know, man. And like the skipping, it just I don't. It's and for me, I'm saying this like outwardly. I'm not a big football guy. I already said it earlier. Not a footballer. All right, but hey, what can we? I just don't get it. It go a little bit too quick for me. Maybe that's the complaint. Who knows? Hey, Ghana up. Yeah, I'm recording this currently during the Ghana Mozambique Mozambique Mazam. Oh, damn. This is a bad look if I don't know how to pronounce this country. Mozambique. I think it's Mozambique. No, it's in East Africa. No wonder I don't know it. I'll say this. Like specifically Central Africa and then certain portions of East Africa, I'm just really bad at. Mozambique. Mozambique. But yeah. Ghana's up. Everything's right in the world right now. But first, let's actually get to a subject that I'm a little bit better at than football than either of these footballs, and that's basketball. And here we're gonna hear Melo sharing his true feelings about the number 15. Now I'll say this: I didn't really see Melo until he was ready at Nick. So me and my feelings of Denver and Melo are not gonna be as nostalgic as other people's. Be blatantly fair. But basically, Melo got on his podcast and was essentially saying that the Denver Nuggets were being petty, in which how they gave Jokic, how they gave away his jersey to Jokic, and he believes that he deserves to be put in the rafters. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve technically to be put in the rafters just because of what other people who have been put in various rafters for other people have or other teams have. Technically. There are there's other teams that have less known people and players in their rafters. Okay? And to be fair, there are many teams that save the jerseys for people. So they can go into the Raptors. However, and this is just gonna be mine, and then we're gonna watch a little bit of his video. I'm not gonna watch the whole thing. 9 minutes is kind of long, but it's gonna be sped up. But all right, number one, I will say the highest he got to Western Conference Finals wasn't bad. Was not bad. How long was this guy on the Knicks? Carmelo Knicks. Played from Denver. The Denver 2003 to 2011, and then 2011 to 2017. So technically, he was on the Nuggets longer than he was on the Knicks. 8 years on the Nuggets, 6 years on the Knicks. And to his credit, and to his credit, the reason it's not like he like blatantly like axed out and was like killing them for it, but the manner in which he axed out, I can understand why they wouldn't like automatically just put you up on there. Like I said, there are worse players on other teams' Raptors. That is true. That's for sure. Worse players that probably or most likely have done less. However, number one, those players were usually lifers. Like, that's what I'm saying. The people who got their jersey retired in certain places were either lifers or people that did, like, that had high commitment to that team or achieve greatness. It's any one of those or any combination of those even. So it's like Melo complaining that, oh, they're being petty. I'll say this, to an extent, there might have been some pettiness because, let me see, Nuggets who wore 15. Also, Jokic has worn number 15 his entire life, so he most likely chose it. I will say, letting a second round pick, quote unquote, choose a jersey, just because I don't know how. For example, when I was in lacrosse, they had seniors choose jerseys first, then juniors, and then it was for the most part between sophomores and freshmen, it was just people who had been on the team longer. But for the most part, seniors usually always got to choose first, unless there was like a 3-year junior veteran on the team type shit. But let's watch a little bit of this. I muted. My fault. Oh, wait. I don't know if this joint is being heard. Site. All right, bet.
Yeah.
Fam, come on,
It's
you
not a
something.
comparison. It's like, it's just, I know, I mean,
You know what I mean? Like, it's obvious that your jersey should be retired in Denver. That's obvious.
I don't know who this guy is. Like, no disrespect. I don't know who you are. I will say, because I've already seen this interview for the most part. On the low, meat riding.
They should do it. I don't know. I don't really put no pressure on it though. But
Look, they should do it. I don't know. I don't put no pressure on it. Continues to talk about it for a minute.
they should do it
Keep it a buck.
because this is, we created something.
We created something. You created a Western Conference Finals. Now, if we looked and I said every 8-year player, and honestly, a good video that's already been done on this was by Dom2K. Rondo didn't get his jersey retired in Boston. Arguably, that was a big four because of Rondo. Like, that's how we identified it. Big three, Rondo, big four. Ray Allen didn't get his jersey retired at Boston. Kevin Garnett got his jersey retired at Boston. I'm pretty sure Ray Allen was at Boston before. Was he at the Bucks? Because I know he started at Bucks. He was drafted to the Bucks. I don't even think the Bucks retired his jersey either. I honestly did not know Ray Allen was in Seattle. That's crazy. But all right, he was in Boston 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? Let's talk Kevin Garnett, right? He was in Boston 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Okay, so he was in Boston one more year. I thought they're basically there about the same amount of time. But that's what I'm saying. Like, timing is one thing, but then it's like, all right, these guys also want a chip. Anything is possible. Like, these guys want a chip. Like, there's a lot of teams that don't that like arguably you could shit. Vince isn't getting his jersey retired in Toronto.
I mean,
And they wanted him out.
We created
that team
something.
before the powder blue jerseys, the Nuggets
We're bland.
were bland, bro. Like they were like the
Okay.
Okay.
But like, Carmelo was drafted in 2003. Franchises that won a NBA championship. I don't think every team has won it. Like, so it's like just because a team is shitty, and look, that has been done for a lot of teams, to be fair. Like when you have a short fucking list of fucking like achievements, obviously you can start doing that, but I don't. All right, years one. But if we look, Suns have never won, Jazz have never won, Nets have never won, Orlando never won. I don't know what the Stags are. Folded in 1950. Washington Capitals folded in 1951. Pacers never won one. Hornets never won one. Clippers never won one. Grizzlies never won one. Minnesota never won one. And Pelicans never won one. Before 2003, Dallas Mavericks hadn't had one. Let me see. Or 2003 before. Spurs at least had two already. I'm trying to think. Not think, but yeah, I feel like low key. That might be all of them. Oh, Cavaliers obviously didn't win one until a Bronny boy came. Same with the Raptors and the Nuggets. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's okay if you want to say the standard should be low enough for you to like go in there, but then Jokic raised it, so. Now I won't even lie. I promise you, some of the Nuggets retired jerseys. Some of the if you look at some of the Nuggets retired jerseys, they probably has. I don't even think every team should have retired Michael Jordan. A bunch of teams did. I understand retiring Bill Russell across the league. Pat Lever, 6 seasons in Denver, averaged 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. 2-time All-Star. Give it to Alex English on the low. Like, look at this. Dikembe Mutombo, 5 seasons. Got 1 defensive player of the year, but he was averaging 12. Well, 12 and 12. 10 and 10, but with 3.8 blocks, that makes it sort of worth it, I guess. I don't know. What the fuck is Brian Beck? Oh yeah, no, this nigga was in the 1967 draft. I'm not even counting that. All right, you had to at least been drafted in the 80s for me to really care. So David Thompson, sorry. All right, obviously their requirements back then were a lot lower because they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. All right, so Fat Lever. He didn't play in the league for that long, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Fat Lever, I wouldn't have personally done it, but it was in the 80s. So the most recent person besides Bill Russell is Alex English. Drafted 1976. Basically drafted with lever. I don't even think, no, the Nuggets did that year. For both of them to be fucking retired. But I don't know. Well, let's continue watching.
We'll let you do that. We'll let you do that. We hold it down. We hold it down.
So, yo, listen, man, like, people, numbers switch all the time, but I know you had to feel a way. Look me in my eyes. You had to feel a way when they gave Jokic that 15.
Now, mind you, again, there was other people before Jokic that had that 15. So, unless he's saying when they gave it to everybody, however, that's not how they...
That's Melo. Did you feel a way when you see my man go out there, I play basket, number 15. I am number 15.
Yeah, hell yeah. Because
what the fuck? Did you think it was a petty maneuver?
Yeah, it was a petty maneuver. It wasn't like, oh, we got numbers to choose from. It was like, here,
take this one.
You got 50.
And that's where I 100% disagree. Dead in the tracks. Jokic has worn number 15 for a majority of his life. He stated that. It's easily found because international tape is out on Jokic. This is not like the we have the research. All right? So it's like, yeah, you're 15. Lying.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? And then they're going to try to frame like, oh no, Jokic would never choose his own number.
So they got rid of one and they banked on, but they both was good though.
Yeah.
And at the time, Nurkic was
better
than
Jokic.
Jokic at that time, right? So everybody was like, why you get rid of Nurkic?
So they're saying that, I'm not going to lie, there's definitely some validity to the understanding of keeping Nikola Jokic versus keeping Nurkic. I also do believe that there is contract stuff with it as well. But
why you keep Jokic?
Joker was on a rookie.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was
pay off. Right.
And now it's like
15. Now I'm gone now. So now I'm 7 now. Like 7 is the new thing. You know, I'm in the Mecca. I'm back.
That's it. It's God number.
You know, it's a God's number. So I'm not even thinking about 15.
Word? Then why are you thinking about it now?
This is a chapter of my life. Boom. I love this chapter. That's 15 chapter. Now I got to move on. But now I'm coming back to play. But remember, it was lockout year, so you didn't really see no games. It wasn't no games the next year. So I didn't get to Denver. I didn't go to Denver for about 2 years after that, 2 seasons, because of lockout and the scheduling and
all that crazy shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing Denver 15. I'm like, fuck is going on? Like
big Euro ass motherfucker.
15. So now just start thinking,
when was Jokic drafted? And he didn't even play that first year when he was drafted. So he's saying that he didn't see, because Jokic was drafted in 2014. He didn't play until 2015. So the earliest you could have seen that was 2015. He's saying it was just 2 years. Maybe he's not specifically saying Jokic, but the only one he mentions is Jokic. He doesn't mention anybody else using
out there. He wanted to leave. He wanted to do this. He wasn't. No.
He did want to leave, and it's okay. I'll say this. Carmelo wanted to leave for a valid reason. We just made it to the Western Conference Finals. Why the hell are we talking about rebuilding? And to be fair, me as someone who's critical of Melo, because they got rid of Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups didn't say that Melo wanted to win. Chauncey Billups said Melo wanted to get his stats in Denver. So we don't have to act like you were for the team. We'll just do that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure Chauncey Billups, Carmelo stats. Chauncey Billups says scoring 30 meant too much to Carmelo Anthony.
I tell you what, it's so crazy. I feel bad for Melo, and here's why. Melo was like a good teammate, man. Like,
Yeah, it's a great
Melo
guy.
practiced every day. He didn't miss any games. Now, the only thing I will say, and I've even told Melo this, scoring 30 meant too much to Melo. It meant too much because he could have games where he had 20, 22, we win the game, and he's mad. He might have 36, and he's in there, we lose the game, and he's in there picking everybody up. Scoring 30 meant too much. But I think now you look fast forward the tape, and the reason why he's not in the league because he's still worthy is he hasn't mentally taken that step back to say, okay, I'll come in and play against backups. I'll try to help the team out. I know I might not be able to close, but I just want to help. Well, he's not.
And that's more what Chauncey Billups talking about Melo's last few years in the league where he was just getting passed around. But and look, I'm not like that's an issue with a lot of stars when they have to like that's why some stars would prefer not to be like backups and just leave and just retire. My thing is like as you like that's what I'm saying. Chauncey Billups was on that Nuggets team. He said it himself. Scoring meant too much. So and not to say in that Western Conference Finals he was only focused on scoring and that he didn't try to actually win the game. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying Melo doesn't try to win games. But there's a priority that he was taking. And that's fine because that's what happens when you're a scorer and you have a scoring mentality. Just like how when there's passers and they pass, and some people say LeBron passes too much or all that bullshit. That's fine. He has a passing mentality. Like that's different players have different ways of how they play the game. I'm not hating on that, but I'm just gonna say these are things that are gonna inhibit you later.
But why would you disrespect by even offering that? Like the disrespect and you offering that showed me that you just wanted to erase everything that came prior to
That's crazy.
that right there. Right? So yeah,
Keating
fuck y'all.
right now.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
That's
you saying
crazy.
fuck
I
me,
don't
dead
think
smack to the
that's
rest of the
crazy.
world.
All right, fuck y'all too.
Cool. I ain't never say nothing bad about y'all. Y'all boo me.
Which is just fans. And now I'm like, all right, so are you saying the front office is acting the same as the fans? Did you know the front office booed you, or you just
I never
Just
said
some
nothing
chat.
bad about y'all. I never
booed y'all in the post game.
yeah, you booed me and I had 40. You booed me, I had 50. You still booed me after a 50-point game. It's like,
What's the science?
Melo, Denver return game. Carmelo Anthony flops in return to Denver. Carmelo Anthony played his first game in Denver since forcing a trade from the Nuggets to the Knicks. Anthony left with a sore right knee early in the okay, I'm not gonna get mad at that then. And then the Nuggets blew the game, which is all right. Let's say Carmelo Anthony versus Nuggets. I might have to go 6-15 against the Nuggets. Now, it starts 2012. This is the first game. Well, this is probably at Knicks, right? Yeah, so at Denver. This was the game where he got injured. He didn't play that much. Then he dropped 40. I'm gonna be honest. I don't see no 50-pointer. It seems that he peaked at 40, which is fine. Obvious. No, wait. I was looking at minutes. He didn't drop 40 against the Nuggets ever. Like, even against them. Not even like, it doesn't matter a home or away. He has never dropped 40 against the Nuggets. He dropped, his highest seems to be 34, which is, oh, I'm not going to sit here and just stay here fact
Y'all don't
checking
even
it.
know why y'all booing. Y'all booing because y'all think it's a disgruntled athlete.
Carmelo Anthony Nuggets years. Let's see. Was there a game? Carmelo Anthony, 50, 40 plus point game long. Yeah, let's look at that. So, 45, 46. None of this is against the Nuggets, but I'm trying to find that 50. So as a Nugget, he dropped a 50-point game. Maybe that's what he's talking about. But was he getting booed? Well, that was his last. That was his last time as. But that wasn't even at Nuggets. That was at Houston. Then he dropped 45. Yeah, I don't know. Some of these, I will say, as a Nugget, I just want to see the 40 plus pointers that he has a Nugget. So he dropped 50 as a Nugget twice against the New York Knickerbockers and against the Rockets. Neither of them were at home. I don't think he's talking about the Knickerbocker ones. It would probably be in that 2011 time frame, because the 2011 is when he asked for a trade. And while people are saying that he didn't ask out, and look, I'm gonna say this, because niggas saying that Carmelo didn't ask out is you guys better say that same shit about Kyrie not quote unquote asking out when he was when he was a net. Because I remember when he said if you're not gonna sign me, you're just gonna trade. You're gonna have to trade me for nothing. Nigga said he asked out. So yes, that's requesting a trade. That is a ultimatum. If your girl gives you an ultimatum, most of the time, not most of the time, a good chunk of the time you might want to break up, depending on how stupid that ultimatum is. Sometimes it just be like, you want some dumb shit. I'll say that. And that's why I'm like, I don't blame him for leaving. Ain't no way I made it to the Western Conference Finals, and you're saying we gotta rebuild. And maybe I don't know about the team. Maybe the salary caps, there was so much issues
because of that, based off what somebody is writing in the paper, because it was a paper.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. You write newspaper articles, then, so you running with that. And then you see me and George ain't on the same page. You get all of this, so now you start to pick a side, and y'all put Jokic in the middle of that. He don't know what the fuck
he
going
don't
on.
even care.
Or he could have been like, I want to wear 15 because of. He could have been like, 15 is here. I can wear 15. Oh, that's Melo's number. You know what I mean? Like just.
No, that's not why he wore it. I'm done. I'm gonna stop here. If anybody wants to watch that other 5 minutes of this, y'all got it. Let's talk about Palworlds. All right. I feel like I spent way too much time talking about Melo, but talk about Palworlds, which is a new Pokemon game. Real quick, just as another segment. Old YouTube was crazy. Right. They had a video called Crackhead Throwing Competition. Let me see if I can even find it. Crackhead Throwing. Hey, we found the OG. Oh, this might not be the OG one. Yeah, can't find the OG one, but we'll watch this one real quick.
We're gonna get down with our first annual Crackhead Chunking Competition. All right, now here we go.
Gotta be big as shit for this one. Call the big boys. Toss that nigga. Whoop. Nigga did not go that far. 12 feet, 9 inches. Word. Yeah, this nigga ain't even got a shirt on. He gonna go crazy. is that jean shorts that go down to the knees? For real? They go crazy. Oh, whoa. He just. Oh, yeah, that nigga leave. Let's go to the tape. Bro went to the tape of him still on the floor. Oh, he measuring. Then they get geeking. He can't even measure. 23 feet, 9 inches. Hey. Oh, it's only a two people. Nigga putting on his shirt now.
Our first winner of the first annual crackhead chunky competition. You got anything to say, Leo? Hey, man, I just want to say thank God.
Nigga lost the teeth. Don't got, like, a front tooth.
Bless me with the talent. Okay. I want to say God bless everybody. All right.
God bless everybody, man. That's so tough. Also, another side note thing, I guess, since we're finally here. And I'll actually bring up something else that I actually saw recently too. But a 9-year-old, this is a story on Dexterdo. A 9-year-old was bullied after bringing a fake Stanley Cup to school, as well as, not quotation marks, I'm not going to Target fighting other women or moms to try and get new Valentine's Day one. The mom addressed the recent craze around the cups after buying her daughter a real Stanley. A 9-year-old was called out by classmates after they brought a fake Stanley Cup to school, causing outrage over on TikTok as people jumped in her defense. Now, before I read this article, I'm going to be honest with y'all. This isn't like new in schools. Like, I don't want to say 9. But I feel like that's not a bad age. Because after like 3rd, 4th grade, that's like 3rd, 4th grade to like high school is. That's when people are caring about that. So, like about fake stuff. I will say a cup is nasty. Like fake. I will say this: fake Jordans is one thing. Fake Jordans is for sure one thing. A fake cup where niggas is just putting water in there, that's nasty. As well, but I will say, was that daughter saying it was a real Stanley Cup? Like, let's see, was she lying? In a video that's since been deleted, a mother took to TikTok sharing an outrageous incident that involved her 9-year-old daughter. With over 3 million views, Dinah Mayaka, I can't say that shit, discusses the incident, which started with the purchase of a fake Stanley Cup priced at $10 that she thought was cute. However, after returning after holiday break, her daughter was upset after she was teased by all 10 classmates who received a real branded Stanley Cup for Christmas. I will say, all 10 of her classmates got that shit. How much are Stanley Cups? Because I will also say, my sister has like 2 of these, to be honest. 45, 35. I'll say this, bro. 35, and you could have probably, it looks like this, there's $25 ones, but yeah, and you could have gotten her the 30-ounce one. Yeah, I'm not saying it was okay for them, but you as a mom, they have a Stanley flask. That might be the move. Hey, yo, get the flask up. What the fuck? Did I spit that far? But, Stanley Cup X Pendleton Classic Perfect Brew Pour Over Set? What the fuck? But yeah, nah. I'm looking. You could have gotten a quick $20, $30 one. And you say you got it for Christmas? I will say, we'll see you what other presents, but it's hilarious. However, after Christmas break, they made sure to let her know that this is not a real Stanley, that this is a fake, and it's not as cool. She asked if she can have a real Stanley. So wait, it doesn't even seem like they made fun of her that crazy. Do I think a 9-year-old needs a Stanley? She asks. No. Do I have one? Yes. And this might, okay. Okay. Like, y'all gotta keep in mind that this is why. Yes, I have one. I don't have 50 Stanleys in all different colors. No one is telling you to buy your daughter 50 different Stanleys. I'm not going to Target and fighting over women or moms to try and get the new Valentine's Day one. I have one. You can buy them online. I just saw them. Situation led her to purchase an authentic Stanley cup for her daughter to take to school. She concludes, we have to teach our kids to not make other kids feel inferior for not having the thing they have. That's it. That's where it starts, and it starts with us parents, which is fine. But these are kids. Let me watch the video.
Reasons why I thought the video that I posted would be controversial. One,
so
I have a
basically,
Stanley,
do
and two,
as I
that
say.
I ended up buying my daughter the Stanley. This person's comment I know was meant to be mean and to attack me, but they're right. When my daughter came and asked me for the Stanley, and I tried explaining to her that her cup was cool and that she didn't need that Stanley, do you know what she said to me? She said, Mom, you want a bog bag? Do you guys know what a bog bag is? Let me show you. This is a bog bag. This bag is made out of fucking rubber.
$90.
And it is $90 at Dick's Sporting Goods, sitting right next to Stanley's on the same shelf. Why do I need this bag? Why do I need a name brand bog bag that is made out of rubber? I'm sitting here in my video and I'm saying that it starts with us, and how can I even say that?
Yeah, all right. So I'll say, quote unquote, she identifies her hypocrisy, but I don't know. I don't think that's valid enough for me. Hey, other kids checking if her Stanley cup was legit because it's a girl. It was her daughter, and now they got a diamond tester.
You just ain't charged, bro.
Look.
In charge, the
Who's she
diamond
look?
tester.
Your shit fake, nigga! You don't got it! You do not have it! Stop putting on the persona for these niggas out here! You don't got it!
That's crazy. Oh, but yeah, no, I don't know. Now let's actually talk about. I'm gonna get off my chest. Last year, I'm sorry, I had this shit saved on my bookmarks, I guess. What? Sending shoes to my house under the guise of a gift only to constantly ask for feet pics afterwards? I don't even remember me saving this. I think I remember someone quote tweeting it. Optimus? It might have been Optimus. Oh, it was Destiny. So confused about this Lee. Okay, yeah. Whatever. This is not part of the podcast, man. We don't care. We don't care about some weird online folks on some weird shit, to be honest. Now, what Palworld is Pokemon with guns.
Sold 1 million copies in 8 hours, right?
They sold
and keep in mind, this is not an
1 million copies
Activision
in
game.
8
This is not an
hours.
EA game.
This is not a AAA game. This is like own developers. I think they made one other game before, but
right? This isn't Rockstar, anyone huge, you know? This is a relatively small developer out of Japan that has done this incredible milestone with this game. And so I kind of just want to talk about what it is, what the concept really is, because it kind of seems to market itself as a lot of different things off the initial look, you know? So just kind of talk about that. And then of course I have played a decent amount of the game, at least obviously up until the point that it's been out. I've played enough to actually be familiar with the game.
So from my understanding of it, it's a survival Pokemon-esque game where they get the things from Ark, where you're building stuff, keeping yourself alive, eating, all that, while also allowing you to have monster taming, which is an interesting concept, because it basically gives you the entire world, essentially. It seems like they give a lot more depth from what people who have been saying it, who have been playing it, have been saying.
Concepts, you know, the mechanics of it, some of the early to mid game stuff going on, right? Obviously
I think I actually forgot There was probably one other Stanley Cup thing that I think I saw on Instagram. What the fuck does that mean? Tagged you in a post? Oh. Let me see. Oh, woman arrested after police found 65 Stanley Cups in her car. A 23-year-old woman in Roseville was arrested for stealing 65 Stanley Cups valued at $2,500 from a store in Stanford Ranch Road. The police apprehended her as she entered Highway 65 from Galleria Boulevard, discovering the stolen cups in her trunk. While Stanley quenchers are all the rage, we strongly advise against turning to crime to fulfill your hydration habits. I'm letting you know right now, she was not stealing it because of her quote-unquote hydration habits. And it's actually nasty for y'all to phrase it that way. Because I promise you, other niggas stealing shit is never getting told as, oh yeah, they're just trying to feed their...
I haven't probably...
Yeah, I've never seen cops really be saying that unless it's a specific demographics, but we're not going to talk too much about it. We're not.
Reached like end game or anything crazy, but I mean, I'm definitely familiar enough with what's going on and like all the different things that I've enjoyed, all the different things I've seen, you know, to talk about this game at least a little bit, right? Because to just see what has happened has just been completely wild, right? So basically, there's one phrase that's been going around a lot to kind of describe this game, right? And that it's Pokemon with guns, okay? Pokemon with guns is an interesting concept, obviously, and so when you see that, you kind of see some of the screenshots, the gameplay, right? It just kind of catches your eye. It's
some
like
of the monsters can have
because
guns.
It looks so oddly familiar yet so distinct, right? It has
Which
so
is
many
crazy
because
he's fighting
elements of so many different games, even to the point where like on the online Discord surrounding this game, right? Like I said Discord, but I think I meant discourse. Anyway, the online discourse that I've seen around this game, right? I've seen people say, oh, it's ripping off Legend of Zelda. It's ripping off obviously Pokemon, right? It's ripping off Ark Survival Evolved / other survival games. It's ripping off, you know, Valheim or whatever. I've seen all kinds of different takes. Some people seem to really be displeased with the game because they feel that it's way too derivative of games like Pokemon. They think that some of the character designs were stolen and whatnot. And honestly, I thought that accusation and that possibility in and of itself deserved an entirely different video. So I made an exclusive video for my Watch Optimus subscribers to basically kind of supplement this video in a way, right? To kind of go along with it, because honestly, I don't want to make like a 30 or 35 minute long video talking about this one game, right? Especially when it's kind of two distinct different conversations in a way. So that's already up. If you're...
So the conversation that he's talking about, we can kind of like go into. A lot of people are actually coming and saying that Palworld, not like, especially the Pokemon folks, it's not even like just ripping off. They are blatantly saying that it is part of it. Some of these are actual AI. Like here, Steam's newest hit, Palworld, has been accused of plagiarizing designs from Pokemon as social media users negatively highlight its creator's history with generative AI. I will say that, like, a lot of Pokemon look very similar to just animals. Like, for example, the sheep ones. It's hard to make two different sheep monsters. For real. So, but let's read this. Palworld, a Japanese studio, Pocket Pair released into its early access on PC and Xbox on Friday, immediately becoming a breakout success, with its creator claiming 2 million sales in 24 hours. This huge launch exposure inevitably reignited discourse that has followed Palworld since its announcement on its character designs, apparent similarities to Pokemon. Although gameplay at Palworld is closer to survival games like Ark and Rust than Game Freak's theories, many social media users have noted the obvious influence and character designs have taken from Nintendo series. Following Palworld's release on Friday, some X users collided perceived similarities between Palworld's pals and Pokemon. It's not even subtle about its ripoffs. How much else has it stolen? One user wrote. Another added, I want to like Palworld, but I don't know if I can support running existing Pokemon through a fuser and pass them off as new IP. And while I get it in like the long run of things, I guess even I wouldn't even know. I don't even know if I'd say it like that. Like I get it. The situation further muddled. I'll keep reading. In the eyes of some, Pocket Pair's historic relationship with generative AI tools, artist Zaytree noted on X that one of its previous titles was AI Art Imposter, a game which literally utilizes an AI image generator as its core mechanic. The user also highlighted multiple historical X posts by Pocket Pair's CEO in which he appeared to praise the potential AI image generators for content creation. The use of generative AI, significant pressure point in many creative industries, including video games, with tools such as Midjourney being criticized by some who perceive them as replacing professional artists and using their work without permission for their training set. Earlier this month, an ongoing lawsuit against Midjourney, Stability AI, and DeviantArt listed thousands of artists' names that plaintiffs alleged that had their artwork scrapped to train them. One of Pocket Pair's CEO posts from 2022 discussing how he believed generative AI could one day be sophisticated enough to avoid copyright issues. Another potentially more damaging post from 2021, Mizobi, Pocket Pair's CEO, showed how AI could be used to generate new Pokemon designs. This does not, of course, prove that any designs in Palworld were made with the help of AI. However, some believe that if this is indeed the case, it could explain the similarities with the game design, especially since Palworld was made by a mostly inexperienced team, many of whom were amateurs before being hired. One team member, Mizobi has claimed, was even previously working in a convenience store. I'm pretty sure the team member who was working at the convenience store was actually one of the like bigger artists, from what I had seen on Twitter. Blog post from the CEO claimed that Palworld's 100 character concept were mostly created by a single graduate student. She was a new graduate and had applied to nearly 100 companies but failed them all. She is now drawing most of the characters in Palworld. Elsewhere in the post, Mizobi discusses how Pocket Pair's previous game, Craftopia, was built mostly off of using off-the-shelf assets, and how, when it started its work on Palworld, the company had no animation team. And then this is just the credits list. But just to kind of like speak on the AI topic, government of Desert Cold. Let's fucking go. 0-2. But my fault. Just to talk about the AI stuff a little bit, because I've actually mentioned AI stuff before when there was the allegations that came out when Naruto Storm recently. That was probably more of the recent ones. But the thing with AI, and the reason a lot of people don't like it, and even I understand it, and I've used AI in the artist terms just once, and that was to generate like self pictures. So my thoughts on it is like, if you're using it towards a monetary benefit, I don't fully agree with it. I agree with research purposes, and I agree with utilize, like if you're going to utilize it in a monetary benefit, if you use it solely as the tool for creation rather than as the end all for creation, if that makes sense. For example, there's AI software out there that helps you clip videos and other things and make clips based on what they believe would possibly be the best, like clips, some shorts to shoot off with your episode and whatnot. Or not episode, but video, whatever you're doing. Now, hey, obviously, I do think like there is a larger thing to be said where it's like, oh yeah, paying, looking for editors and all that. But there's also some like faultiness with those AI joints as well. However, I feel as though the utilizations for it as personal tools, especially when there's like actual benefits to having a real editor, and the only reason you would do that would be as a starting point. That's one thing. However, I feel as though when it's like stuff like video games, and I'll say this, as an indie studio, and that's where some people's argument is, I don't know if I care that much that it's either A, using AI, or B, a ripoff of Pokemon, just for the sole fact that it's attacking a huge company who has been known to do a good amount of scummy stuff with their games. I'm not gonna really get into it. I feel like you can find a lot of stuff and a lot of complaints from a lot of people for how the state of Pokemon games have kind of been. Moving up, I stopped playing Pokemon games for real after, what was the DS one? Black and White? Was it Pokemon Black and White? I think that might have been the last one I played, but even then, I didn't even play. Yeah, I think Pokemon Black and White was the last. No, Black and White 3. That's apparently they released a trailer for. I'm trying to find Black and White gameplay, just so I can kind of remember how it looks. I don't know if it was Pokemon Black and White then. 2010. Well, I'll say this. I definitely played Fire Red and Leaf Green. Though Fire Red and Leaf Green were probably my favorite ones, but that's also because I was just a kid. I really played those a lot. Like I really like Legacy of Goku. Doesn't mean like it was a great game, so I'm not gonna act like that's what that means, you know. But yeah. Going on with and again, I'm gonna try and fucking post the actual videos, but there's a thread where somebody actually compiles the entire 111 list of PALs in Palworld and puts the Pokemon comparison that most people had found it with next to it. So this is just a quick look. Seal Valley's model, Sobel's Fawn. And some of the points that they're using, they're saying that it's not even just the design, but and the reason they're saying that it might even possibly AI is because they are like blatantly ripping off faces as well for some of them. This guy looks like a combination of Jigglypuff and then that sheep Pokemon. Lucario, Luxray, Lucario, looking at. But this one is just little lichen rock. This is just literally a lichen or a wolf. Like both of them look just like lichen / wolves. So that's why I'm like I can't fully like get with that. However, this is not to say that there is not a lot of blatantly obvious ones where they even use the same color and face and everything. And I'm like, what makes it interesting for sure is definitely I'm just going to stop at 30. I'm not going to look at all 100 pictures. I really don't care that much. Will I pay Palworld? Possibly. I thought it was interesting. I saw a clip where they actually allow you to kidnap humans. They explain that it's illegal, but kidnapping humans and capturing them in a ball has benefits. I think like they added a lot of interesting aspects to the game, where it's like in the humans, what they would do as your slaves would basically be like doing all the household stuff, because this is also a survival game. So I don't know. I don't hate. That's what I don't hate. If I'm gonna be completely honest with you, like I really like, and that's why I'm like I can't just like. They were doing so much. This game has been in development for almost 3 years as well. I didn't even know that much about it, except a few weeks before it came out. But this game has been in development for a long time.
Watch Optimus subscriber or an Optimus Nation subscriber, of course, in the channel memberships, you kind of like exploring around what Palworld is, right? Because obviously it's this big like open world game where you look around and it seems like there's these little pals, as they're called, aka Pokemon is what some people are saying. But the little pals, it seems like they're kind of everywhere off the jump, right? So
I will say there's a lot of monster taming games, and this is the only one I've ever seen get as much smoke, quote unquote, because of how like Pokemon it is. And I do think that's a little bit interesting. If you want my opinion, like what I would say as a gamer, as someone who looked into AI and all that stuff for a good amount of time, not like crazy deep dives, but like, like for the most part know about the technology, ideally like how it would work, maybe not like the intricacies of each versioning of AI like ChatGPT and all those whatnot, but I understand their working processes. If they use AI to generate a majority of things, if they use it, like it depends. To me, it really just depends how much AI usage was even used. I don't think it's that bad if it's just for like small things like shaping and everything and whatnot. If you already have the general like concept of it down or something like that, or even like as a way to propagate ideas. Although I would also like go against that a little bit. Like, and I saw this one tweet, and it was basically like, it was basically saying that we can say both things. We can say that the people who made Palworld were creatively limited, while also saying that it's not just a Pokemon clone and that it needs to be put down and it's just AI and all that shit. Where I have some agreements with that, because like I said, people have also like I don't agree with the arc determinations, but if they actually copied the map of Breath of the Wild, then
So I got familiar with the controls, like a little bit of the basic like combat / interactions and whatnot. Started gathering some basic resources, building basic like, workbenches and things like that. One of the things about the game that I thought was pretty cool is like the tech tree kind of thing going on, right? There's these different technologies and things that you can basically research with these points that you get for different things. And you can use these points to unlock different things that you can like craft, and then it'll unlock different.
And I saw the leveling thing here, so I figured that there was something.
Basically, technology will obviously evolve what you can do and what capabilities you have. What different kind of like base building stuff you can put around. You create PAL boxes and whatnot to basically store your captured pals. Oh yeah, that's a thing, by the way, right? While interacting with these pals, it's kind of cool the like freedom of choice you really have, right? And I think that's like the really big hinge factor for this game that really kind of makes it work. I mean, if it was just straight up like Pokemon, where the only thing you could do with the pals is just capture them, find other people with pals, commit animal abuse by making the pals fight each other to the death, either for financial or egotistical gain, right? It would just be like, okay, what exactly am I playing here? This is just fucking 3D Pokemon. I really don't want to do this, right? But no, thankfully, you can actually capture them, and people have said, you can enslave them. There's different functions and whatnot that you can do with them. Of course, yes, you can like fight them to the death, or you can just go around and kill them all if you choose to. It's really up to you. There's just a bunch of different things that you can do with them, to the point where like it actually feels like it kind of expands upon that quote unquote Pokemon factor in that way, right? I think it looks pretty cool too, like the graphics. I know some people probably think it looks like shit or whatever. I understand that. I also know a lot of people, they probably can't run the game like in high graphics or whatever. And truth be told, I don't really know how it looks on Xbox. I'm not playing it on Xbox. I've been playing it on Steam, so that may influence like my opinion on that part of it. But I think it looks pretty cool. One of the things, obviously, the whole PAL thing is they do clearly look like Pokemon, right? And they do clearly remind you of Pokemon when you see them and interact with them, right? But for what it's worth, all the things that the game has quote-unquote stolen or quote-unquote taken inspiration from, whatever you really want to kind of throw at the game, I think that it actually executed those things pretty well. Like, I mean, even the basic crafting and whatnot, right? It feels like every...
And that's my thing, where it's like, sure, you can kind of harp on like, and this is the thing, big companies and everything, and it sounds bad, and this might be the hypocritical joint, like the mom for that one Stanley Cup was, but like, are we really going to sit here and like harp on that? I understand, like, even me, I'm really thinking about it, because it's like, on one hand, am I really going to be the guy that like is stepping in for Game Freak? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that's really where I want to hinge my things to it. But I guess that's other people. I'll skip through this a little bit.
Areas, does it seem like they kind of saw other ideas from other games and they kind of just put their adaptation of it? Sure, but truth be told, most games kind of do that anyway. This game, I think, is just a little bit more blatant about it. But overall, I think it's really been kind of cool also to just see the like community coming around this game in a completely different way, because
and that's the thing, like a lot of games do that. A lot of games, it's just harder to quote unquote tell, but if you look, Ark, what was before Ark? Minecraft, Terraria. There's a lot of games.
People have been very positive towards the game. I mean, it's doing so well and it's selling so many copies and so many people are trying to play it and whatnot, right? That they're struggling to keep up with the servers. I mean, they're talking about there's like issues with people joining up in multiplayer and people are just already having problems with connectivity and whatnot. And that's to be understood, right? Because like, I don't think anyone could have seen just how popular this game was going to be out of the gate. It is on Xbox Game Pass as well. So that's definitely going to be a benefit to it. I mean, obviously having the benefit of saying, hey, we basically have our game out for free. If you're paying for a subscription, by the way, if you're not, of course you got to pay, but I mean, it's $27 right now on Steam for the game.
Also, there has been a mod released. You probably saw when I was scrolling on my bookmarks earlier, but it's the most recent. Palworld already has an actual
That's
Pokemon
right, the
mod.
first mod pack for Palworld is already out, and it is an overhaul converting everything into Pokemon. Everything from the playable character being Ash, from his friends Brock and Misty, to even all the Pokemon that inhabit the world. And even the first boss fight is Jessie from Team Rocket. If you want to check out this mod pack for yourselves, the full video will be on my channel tomorrow. Did you know
the mod pack hasn't come out yet though, but I do think that's pretty nuts, and knowing Nintendo, it's gonna be interesting how they do that mod release.
And personally, I feel like that was a pretty good $27 spent. And then another really cool factor to it that I think
this is
really
only 27. How much do Pokemon games cost? Let's see. Red and blue. Oh, continue. I'm trying to find. Was Scarlet and Violet the most recent one? I thought Legends and Sword and Shield were, but yeah. It's $60 at release for that one. Let's see. Let's say, what was Red and Blue at? Well, Red and Blue, this is for Game Boy. Release price $45. And to be fair, I remember I was talking to somebody. They were saying like early PlayStation games were actually very much a good amount of dollars. So like they used to be 60, 70 in order to buy a PlayStation game, because it was just a lot rarer, it was harder. It was the first console for it, so it was like less people.
Huge driving force is the multiplayer capability too, right? Because not only is there like, I think 4-player co-op, if I'm not mistaken, but then there's also
4-player co-op is crazy.
So like a 32-player level basically online you can play, where you and all these other players can play on the same island and you guys can go around with your pals, and if you want to, hey, you can just, Pokemon with guns, dude, fucking shoot each other, do crazy stuff, drink beer, I don't know. I think personally for me, what I like about it the most is just like how unserious of a game it is, right? I feel like all these different games that I've been playing over the last like 3 years, so many of them have been so like serious and whatnot, right? They've like taken themselves too seriously, right? And this is just one of those games that takes all these like popular fun concepts of games and just kind of like flips it in a way that like realistically we haven't seen before. I mean, like what kind of game can you honestly say that you can go around collecting a bunch of monsters and little balls that you use to fight, ride around, strap up for war, fucking, you know, like you go around collecting resources and building bases and whatnot, possibly fighting other people and other crazy shit going on around on the map, right? Like it is in a way so many different games mixed into one, but it just is so unserious and it's so fun and just like goofy and cartoony, right? Now, one thing I think is important to point out, right, to not make this seem like it's just some perfect polished product or whatever, right, is that despite all of the immense hype surrounding the game so far, trust me, I'm liking the game so far too, but there is also points to be made about the fact that it's also a game that's in early access, and this is something that, you know, the developers Pocket Pair have done before with games, right? This is not their first time releasing into early access, but I think that's something we've seen in the gaming industry in the last several years where, you know, all developers love to go into early access because it kind of gives them an excuse for the game to be in a bad state. And I don't want to sit here and pretend like this is some perfect game because trust me, there's a lot of bugs, there's a lot of glitches. Like I've had pals that are like glitching through the dirt and like the only thing I can see is the top of their head. And so like as they glitch through the ground, the only thing I can think to do is to just beat their fucking head in and kill them, right? Like I know that sounds insane and brutal, but like I just look down at them and just see them stuck in the dirt. And the first thing that comes to mind is like, why even try to save it? Just fucking kill it, dude. And then, well, we have to take care of it.
That's crazy. Whack-a-mole. That's what he's thinking, bro, when he be seeing them piles stuck to the floor.
So anyway, even though it's dealing with problems like that and the game is kind of fucked up in some spots with these kind of bugs,
and your misery face.
Also, the multiplayer has not really been working, at least.
And that's fine. This is early access, like he said. And it has been a crutch that a lot of games nowadays have been using. But this is the current industry that we're in. Technically, Fortnite released an early access mode. And it's just kept... Because the Battle Royale was not supposed to be the mainstay of the game. It was actually the story portion. And they got rid of that. Or they still have it. And they use that. The people who got that, they can... There's another way for them to get V-Bucks, basically. But, yeah. But let's now talk about Ubisoft and their new Ubisoft Plus, which is their new service to PC, and their belief in getting gamers comfortable with not owning their games. ARG. That's all I'm going to say right now. ARG. Alright, mateys. Ubisoft has rebranded its subscription offering and introduced a new service for PC players. Ubisoft's main all-singing, all-dancing subscription offering has been rebranded Ubisoft Plus Premium. This service is one of the features all new releases, such as this week's Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. It costs $17.99 and is accessible via PC, Xbox, and Amazon Luna. In addition, the firm is adding Xbox or Ubisoft Plus Classics on PC. The Classics option was already available to PlayStation players via Sony's own subs offering and features back catalog games like Far Cry 6, Rainbow Six Siege for $7.99 a month. We have looked at the consumer behavior and how people were interacting with our offer, and we saw opportunity for us to evolve. Is Ubisoft also the people that made Skyrim? Or the people that have Skyrim? Who does Skyrim go to, technically? Platform? Bethesda. Alright, that's different then. I was about to make a link, but there's not a link to be made. We looked at the consumer behavior. When we looked at how gamers engage with our different games, we saw that our back catalog is still very active and alive. So we saw an opportunity to offer these worlds to our consumers for a lower price. This is a response to the behavior we saw from players. Tremblay says the company has seen millions of subscribers over the last 4 years who have collectively played over 500 million hours of gameplay. Some sign up to trial one game for a month or two, while others come in, stick around, and play numerous titles. There are multiple behaviors, he explains. There are definitely a lot of people who come in for one game and then decide to buy it after the subscription ends. That's part of the reality, and that's okay with us. Ubisoft Plus Premium price point exceeds, in some cases, what Xbox and PlayStation charge for their services. Some of these will be due with the business realities behind putting brand new AAA games into a subscription service. But Tremblay believes the cost of reasonable considering what is on offer. We're talking about day one releases. With games like Prince of Persia, you get early access. We already have Avatar, which is a flop of a game. Assassin's Creed Mirage, which no, if it was a flop, I definitely don't see people talk about it. Mirage, excuse my shitty typing and spelling. 8 out of 10. That one website that one guy uses to review it. I will say, I remember Valhalla got a lot of the boring views. 2.7 on Google, 8 out of 10 on IGN, but IGN always be overrating stuff. 6 out of 10 on GameSpot. I feel like GameSpot is usually the more accurate ones. Taking a while to load it, but while that's loading, all these games are available to play. Tremendous value already. Then there's the catalog too, thousands of dollars of games. If you don't get access to these games, you get the premium edition. Oh, you don't just get access to the games, you get premium editions. So it's all the added content that comes with that. We have rewards too. And one of the big advantages of Ubisoft Plus is that you get to play these across multiple devices from one subscription. You can have access to our titles through PC, Xbox, and Amazon Luna. I'll be honest, I don't know anybody who actually has the Amazon Luna. That sounds like that new shit that parents might be getting for their kids because they can't buy them a PlayStation. Deadass. There's a lot of debate around the subscription video games. Today's business model is a dominant way of paying for TV, film, and music, but that's not currently the case in this industry. Games are typically much longer. Many of them are free or feature some other form of monetization, and AAA publishers have argued that the numbers don't add up. Nevertheless, Ubisoft is seeing growth in this sector. Tremblay says that October last year was the biggest month in Ubisoft's history. The point is not to force users to go down one route or another. We offer purchase, we offer subscription, and that's the game's preference. That is important here. We are seeing some people who buy choosing subscribing now, and it's all works. He says the subscription has enabled Ubisoft to bring in new players, with 1 in 10 Ubisoft Plus subscribers having never engaged with the company games before. Whatever. It's proving to be a way for gamers to access our worlds who perhaps weren't inclined to purchase, he tells us. These players are brand new. We are shaking hands for the first time. It's been Ubisoft's strategy for as long as I've been here to try and reach more players with the franchises that we have, so I'm happy. As the leader of this product, I'm able to deliver on that. So that's their whole summation on Ubisoft Plus. Now, the big controversial statement is getting gamers comfortable with not owning their games. Gamers are used to owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. Where he says needs to happen, I think is nasty. I was actually on my PlayStation earlier, I want to say this week or some shit, and I was trying to install Apex Legends because my sisters were saying that they wanted to play it. They got PS4s. So I was like, all right, bet, let's play it. I wanted to install it. I have the CD PS5. Why is it that I have the MLB CD, but that shit is getting up to almost 60, 80 gigabytes on my downloads? Why is it that I have all these CDs, but for some reason, the actual, where is the game being, why is the game mostly being stored on my fucking console? What that ruins one of the reasons of getting CDs. To have better console space. Dog, I remember having my PS3 for so long and how long it actually took us to actually run out of console space. So I will say that these developers also are not optimizing their games. So the only reason I would agree to a subscription model is that if it's like an NVIDIA type thing. But I know these aren't NVIDIA. They basically are still paying you to own these games on your because, for example, what NVIDIA GeForce Experience does is that you only download that launcher, and then it's basically using cloud provisioned hardware in order to run your game, and then basically they just send you back the screen. It's like remote play. They just send you back your screen of it being run. And in my opinion, that's so much better. Like if they're moving towards that, I understand that. Number one, Nvidia is also free. What they make you do is that if there are paid games and you have to log into verified accounts, such as Steam, for example, if you want to play Baldur's Gate 3, they have it, but you have to log into your Steam account so you can log into your user and whatnot. You can play the game. So they have proof of purchase. But that's the only reason I'd ever want a subscription model. Honestly, I remember when during the PS3 era, one of the points, because this is when PlayStation was losing because it was Xbox 360 days, one of the reasons why I was able to keep up with the PlayStation or say why PlayStation was better is because I was like, oh yeah, I don't have to pay to go online to play online. PS4 came out, immediately changed that shit. And then around the time, basically when PS5 came, then they added, like a year or two after the PS5 game, they started adding tiers into that. And at first, I thought the tiers weren't going to be that bad. I did the highest tier for a year, and that shit was, or for a month, and that shit was ass. How the hell y'all niggas make me lose 2K after a month? Just because y'all, or after 2 or 3 months, basically it was just like, until that season of 2K was over. I lost 2K, and I was like, why would you guys, because what they used to do is PlayStation Plus games to give you free games. But no, now they're giving you free trial games, and those are the good games. Then they give you a whole bunch of shitty games for free. So I've really made it only to the essential. I only need to play online. If I want a game, I'm just get a game, whether it's on PC or it's on PlayStation. How I get it on PC is my business. Gamer, now let's actually read this article. The question remains around the potential of subscription model in games. Tremblay says that there is a tremendous opportunity for growth, but what is it going to take for subscription to step up and become more significant proportion of the industry? I don't have a crystal ball, but when you look at the different subscription services that are out there, we've had rapid expansion over the last couple of years, and it's still relatively small compared to other models, he begins. We're seeing expansion on console as the likes of PlayStation and Xbox bring new people in. On PC, from an Ubisoft standpoint, it's already been great. We're looking to reach out more on PC and see opportunity there. One of the things we saw is that gamers are used to a little bit like DVD having and owning their games. That's a consumer shift that needs to happen. And I already said, I don't like the fact that they say it needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD or DVD collection. That's a transformation that's a bit slower to happen in games. As I still know people who buy CDs and DVDs. It's just, I will say, they just don't have them. I have PS2 games and shit, but whatever. If you resume, as gamers go comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume you never lost your progress with CDs and DVDs fucking either, unless some shit happened. If you want to just say you want cloud saves, that's fine. Multiple fucking shit already does that. Steam bin did that. I could switch between games on Steam and still use my fucking same account. So I don't like that excuse. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. No, that's always been the thing. Shit, even emulators basically do that. You can save states on emulators. You can exit out the entire emulator and the state is still there. So yes, this has been a thing for a long time. You don't lose what you built in the game or your engagement with the game. It's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. I still have 2 boxes of DVDs. I definitely understand the gamer's perspective with that. But as people embrace that model, they will see that these games will exist. The service will continue, and you'll be able to access them when you feel like it. As long as you pay more! Don't forget that portion. Like, it's one thing if you're one of those YouTubers or you finish games quickly, but a majority of people, you got to keep in mind, they're playing only a niche amount of games. This isn't, like, even me, I play a lot of games. I play Japanese, Korean, Shit, I remember I played a French game. I talk about this shit frequently. It was a roller skating game. I played Free Drac, which was a track game. I played so many different games. It's crazy over the years. So I just don't agree with this idea of it. Streaming is also a thing that works really well with subscription. Yeah, of course. So you pay when you need it as opposed to paying all the time. And no, you're not paying. The only reason you're paying all the time is if you're on PlayStation and you have the PlayStation membership active so you can play certain games online. You can play Fortnite online without PlayStation Plus. You can play Apex Legends online without PlayStation Plus. There are a lot of games out there you can play online without PlayStation Plus. Furthermore, there's even more games that don't even have an online thing, and there's a lot of people that don't play online. A majority of their games, Far Cry 6, is that an online thing or an online user base that's active? Assassin's Creed games, is there an online or an online user base that's active? Like Rainbow Six is the only one, and I've seen recently that there's a large amount of Rainbow Six cheaters, especially on the PC. It's getting there, he told us, just not as fast as we thought. When we are in a good city with good interests, it's fantastic, but not the case for everyone. The NVIDIA experience, for example, is fantastic. We thought it would go faster. We learned a lot by working. And this is where I'm like, no, the NVIDIA experience is different. Because unless you guys are doing cloud provisioned hardware, which is what NVIDIA is doing, if you're saying I don't have to install the game on my system, if you're saying that I can use a minimum spec system for Ubisoft Plus, that's one thing. That's not what they're saying. NVIDIA experience is fantastic. Well, we thought it'd go faster. We learned a lot by working with these services, and we're using that experience to enhance what we're doing. Activision Visual games will be available to stream via Ubisoft Plus in the future. Ubisoft's commitment towards streaming was evident when it acquired the streaming rights to Activision Blizzard's games in August. The firm plans to add these games into Ubisoft Plus in the future, although Chumbley has little to say on the subject today. I don't really care about Activision stuff. Activision Blizzard has its own shit. Reading this other article where I will say, and this is an idea that has been there since, I want to say, people didn't really start talking about it a lot until, or at least I didn't start noticing the talks about it a lot until the PS4 era specifically. But I will say, even in when the PS3, the PS4 started having online or digital copies of games, I definitely saw there was definitely more and more pushback against people with digital games. And that's because for a lot of these places, these digital games they don't allow you to, you really don't have ownership of the game. They can take it out of your library at any time. I remember recently there was a whole bunch of movies and whatever that apparently got taken out of the PlayStation Store. And because of that, it got taken out of multiple people's libraries. So the idea of, and then a lot of people buy games on Steam and everything as well. Although I will say Steam is a lot more lax with how they do things in comparison to a lot of the consoles and whatnot, and other game publishers uniquely. But I will admit there is that aspect. So with this IGN post, literally asking, "Are you comfortable not owning your games?" And the poll is, yes, I don't need to buy my games on disc, and no, I always buy my games on disc. When you keep in mind that there was a good amount of people, especially because of the way shit was selling out, that bought the PS5 digital only version as well. When you're keeping in mind these aspects of things, it doesn't, because even me and my friends were talking about it recently to an extent. There's a CD version versus the downloaded version. He was all like, well, the games are going to be cheaper when you have a CD. And I was like, That's only, and I really have to say, that's only if you buy them, like, if you don't buy them close to release. Because an argument is that you can always, like, PlayStation games are always on sale as well. Like, me and him both got MLB. I got MLB a few dollars cheaper than him, like maybe $10 at most, cheaper than him. Because I bought the CD off GameFly. But he also didn't pay full price for that MLB game. He paid like only $35, maybe $40. I paid like $29. So, and then I also had to wait for my game to ship and come here and everything. Same thing with Street Fighter 6. I bought that off of eBay. It came with the pre-order code. So I got the first champion pack, or the first one or two champion packs and whatever. So there is a dilemma in which, like, are you owning the game if it's download? And if you're framing the question like that, me personally, no, I do not need to buy games on it. Then yes, I feel comfortable not owning my video games. If you are arguing that all downloaded games are not owned, if that's the argument, that's fine. That's just a weird thing. And like you said, this is where gaming is going towards, because a part of it is just because these niggas won't optimize their specs. I have to look into getting a new hard drive for my PlayStation because these fuckers won't optimize their specs. You know? Like, it's really disgusting. And that's really a thing that the game industry has been moving towards now, where it's like, it doesn't even feel like they're adding, like a lot of these games are adding or have a lot to warrant the like space that these games are taking up. Like I said, if I have the CD version, why the hell is MLB taking 60 gigabytes? What are we doing here? Like, what is the CD for? I'll even look it up. Or not look it up, but why do game CDs still take up massive space in consoles? Games today have huge resource files, 1080p, 4K textures, need to be constantly read and loaded into system memory every time you load a new level. For example, back in the day, resolutions were small, so you could read rates, disk offers, could keep up with it without causing any delay along loading screen. Let's read this Reddit page. Do physical games take up less space? No, all games install. Games don't use the disk for anything other than license check. When you first put a game in it, it installs SSD. From that point, the disk is nothing other than check the ownership. So the install styles will be identical. That's disgusting. Nope. The only thing physical copies are good for these days are taking up space on a shelf. Unless it's a fancy box you like, there's really no use for them. And if you still get up and change the disc, and you still have to get up and change disc when you want to play a different game. Apart from the fact that games get delisted from the marketplace, the only way for new players to pick them up is picking up the disc copy. Now, what many Twitter users, and I'm not saying, I'm doing it, but, you know. What many folks are saying is that, fine, we can't own our games, that's fine. But if games don't have ownership, then why is pirating bad? Why can't we pirate? Arc? You know? Now, I'll just end this off with a Assassin's Creed Black Flag sea shanty. You know? And I'll say this. I was randomly thinking about it recently, but I really fucked with those sea shanties. Leave Her, Johnny. That shit's tough. Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. That's my favorite Assassin's Creed game. I fuck with pirates and boats. My favorite Pop Tropica level was Skullduggery Island. That shit just it's a whole different thing. All right. So I definitely like those sea shanties. Like what they did with Assassin's Creed.
I thought I heard the old man say, leave her, Johnny, leave her. Tomorrow ye will get your pay, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her.
Leave her.
The voyage is long and
the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her.
Oh, the wind was foul and the
sea
sea
went high.
Leave her, Johnny, leave her. She shipped it green and none went by, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her.
Leave her, Johnny.
The voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her.
Man, that shit's fire, bro. But all in all, Carmelo doesn't deserve to get his jersey retired as a Nugget, unfortunately. As more specifically after Jokic already took the number and is obviously dominating and is better than him. I don't think it was necessarily a petty maneuver outside of the fact that they felt that they felt a sense of betrayal, so they are willing to give up your number to multiple players. And it just so happened now that somebody took it and they made their own name with it. You're not like, I would argue that if Jokic chose another number and nobody of importance held 15, then there could actually be pushes and talks for Carmelo to get his jersey retired. However, that doesn't seem to be the case. So wrapping that portion up, the next thing that I talked about, I don't think it was technically Palworlds, the Stanley Cup joint. Hey man, don't come here with that fake shit, bro. All right. I guess that also like talks into its whole like the larger capitalism thing. There was like some random person who was on Twitter who apparently there's some black luxury like trend that was going on TikTok, and she was talking about, I don't even know what she was. Basically, the way she was inciting it seemed as though she was like talking mostly about like black luxury itself being bad, but then she was all like, "Oh no, I'm against all capitalism," and I was like, "Okay, we can move past it." Shout out for Anthony Edwards for throwing the ball off the backboard and then dunking it. No shout out to Joel Embiid for doing the same thing. He's a copycat. And I'll take my L as a Jordan, or not a Jordan Poole fan, definitely not. But as a Jaylen Brown fan, because I think he tried that shit and he fucked that shit up. He missed it. You see, it's easy for Embiid to do it too because he's so damn big. But like, god damn. You gotta practice that a little bit, Brownie boy. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I can do that in the game. And Embiid is able to do that a little bit just because of his size. So you can just kind of, he is like, his capture range is is wider. You gotta really feel like how strong you gotta do it, all that. All right, that's the podcast, and I'm gonna see you in the next one, man. Maybe, who knows? We've a lot of short time, baby.
That was the Just Talking Podcast.